Nifty little device, this WeMe USB 3.0 to IDE SATA converter. I don't know if it's really a converter, it's probably really an adapter, a way to take perhaps a normally internal hard drive and connect it to the computer via this adapter. So anyway, it comes with a power cord, it comes with a 3.0 USB. You can connect a IDE 3.5-inch hard drive to it. You can connect a 2.5-inch IDE hard drive and one 3.5-inch SATA connector. In here we're connecting a hard drive IDE, and we've got a Molex power cord, and we shove that into it also. Now the device does have it's got a little button on the front of it, or the top of it, that says One Touch Backup, and I initially thought that, oh, how cool, you can connect two hard drives and copy the contents from the IDE to a newer SATA. Maybe you've got an old computer, but it doesn't do it, so it looks like you have to go through the computer interface and use the provided software or another third party. I can't say that I think this software is very glitchy, and I do not recommend it. I had lots of trouble getting it to work properly, so I would avoid the software. We're going to go through a couple of steps coming up, and you're going to see the trouble that I ran into. It seemed to interfere with a couple of programs. I could not delete the program unless I went through Task Manager and shut it down, and then I was able to undelete it. So it's a very persnickety piece of software. So my suggestion, don't install it. But in this video, we're going to go ahead and go through a couple of steps. So we've connected the One Touch Backup. We're going to right click on the start. We're going to go to Disk Management, and this is where you're going to see the disks that are currently on the system. I have a C drive, which is this drive, disk 0. I have a D drive, which is a separate hard drive, and then this is the drive that's connected to the WeMe adapter. And so up here you see all of these different letters, and it can be a little bit confusing. So disk 0 partition 3. This is disk 0, this is partition 3. And watch, if I click on this, this is the C drive, this is a solid state drive, and it'll gray it out. And so if I click on this, it says system, and so that is this part of it. So it's a great way, because it can, if you got 2 or 3 or 4 disks, it can get real confusing which disk is which. So in disk 3, which is the drive that's connected to the adapter, look, if we click here, we can see that disk 3 partition 1, that's what's grayed out right here. We go to this one, and recovery is H, and this is I, which is this partition. So it kind of helps you to see where the disk is. And also, okay, when you go underneath File Explorer, you can find, because what happens here, you can see that here's the C drive, which is this, the D drive, which is this drive, the E drive is the DVD-ROM, and that's in the computer. We don't need that. Now this is the H drive, which is this partition, and we can actually double click it, and we see that basically it's been formatted and there's no information on it. And here's the I, it's been formatted and there's no information, just enough that the Windows 10 can identify it. So that's how I know that the SATA drive that I've got, the hard drive that I've got connected to the adapter, the converter, if you will, that's the drive letters are I, H, and I. So that's helpful just to know what you're looking at. it becomes a little bit more important if you want to format or something. But at any rate, that gives us a little bit of a picture into what are we looking at. Did the drive actually mount? And we can see from disk management that it has mounted. And this is where the software gets a little bit finicky. If you turn the software on and then you subsequently shut it off and then you go back and turn it back on or double click it to reinitiate it, it won't turn on. It says there's another version of it open. So you have to go to the task manager, Control Alt Delete, and you have to locate the software underneath details and end task, and then you can relaunch it. Now we have to configure the software. We have to tell the software which drive that's connected to the adapter we want to copy and where we want the copy to go to. By default, it looks like it's required to be copied to the PC, so you would select PC, and then in the upper right corner of the software, you will see just below the option button is a it's slightly grayed. It says device, and then you click on the scroll down arrow and then select your device, whether it's the E drive, the G drive, or whatever the drive letter is that's connected to the adapter, and that's what you want to copy. Now you have to create a folder where it's going to go to when you copy it. And so what I've done is, because I've got plenty of room on my D drive, just think about it. If you've got a 1 terabyte disk you want to copy, you're going to have 1 terabyte of space on your hard drive. So make sure that you've got a hard drive connected to your PC that's of a large enough capacity to copy the disk to. This feature I don't like too much, but that's just the way it is. So at any rate, this is normal procedure. Just create the path, find the D folder the D drive. In my case, I created a folder. I called it AIOTB copy, so that I know where to find it. And once you've selected and configured everything, then it allows you to get to the next dialog, which will allow you to copy it. Now, I don't have a whole lot on this hard drive, and when I finally got everything configured and I said, okay, I want to copy it, it very quickly copied it, and I'm thinking it did it so quick only because there wasn't a whole lot of data on it. There were only like 2 files. But when I went back to the folder, and I did this 2 or 3 times, I could never find the copy. So even though the progress showed 100% completed, it never copied into the folder where I told it to copy into. And so that's why I say this software is too persnickety, too tricky. It runs when you don't want it. It's running in the background when you don't want it. It doesn't seem like it's copying where it's supposed to. It seems like it interferes with other programs that I've got on my computer, and so my instinct says don't install it. But I included it with this tutorial because perhaps on your machine it might work, and it may work effectively. So use it at your own risk. Here I've gone ahead and I've repeated the process again, just to make sure that, well, did I do something wrong? And I repeated the same process. I do get the status bar at the bottom that says it was copied. I look in my folder and I have nothing in it. I check a couple other folders just in case I accidentally put it in a different folder right next to the one that I should have selected, but it's nowhere to be found. So again, I kind of repeat that this software, at least on my system, is not providing satisfactory results. So I would say get rid of the software. It's too glitchy, too funny to take a chance on. So I would suggest you use a different type of software that's maybe a little bit more robust. So let's go ahead, and the next step will be to delete the software, the AIOTB. Okay, now to remove the software, go underneath the Windows Start, right click it, and go to Apps and Feature. Scroll down, find AIOTB O2B, and select uninstall and then say yes. Now it's going to pop up another window that says there is another version open, and so you won't be able to uninstall it. So at this point, do Control Alt Delete, brings up the Task Manager. Scroll up to the top. You're going to go underneath Details, and you're going to find the software AI OTB and select End Task. And then after you've done that, now you can go ahead and complete the uninstallation process. So again, that's why I say this software is a little bit on the glitchy side, too glitchy for me. So maybe you'll have better success, and you might post a workaround that you found that works perfectly. So, all right, thank you very much. Remember to subscribe.